Commander Rylan moved quietly through the long corridors of the Valerian research station. The walls were tall and smooth, glowing faintly with a light that seemed alive. He had been on many missions before, but nothing had prepared him for this. First contact with the Valerians, one of the most mysterious species humanity had ever encountered. Humans had only known of them for a few months, but stories about their intelligence and unpredictability had already spread across Earth. Some called them brilliant, others called them dangerous. Rylan did not care about the rumors. He only knew one thing: the mission was simple. He had to deliver a gift, a human gift, to a Valerian named Lysara. The gift was small, almost fragile. Rylan held it carefully in his hand, turning it over and over. It was a locket, simple and delicate, handcrafted by humans on Earth. Inside was a tiny picture of Earth's skies at dawn, a place that humans called beautiful, a place that reminded Rylan of hope. To humans, the locket was just a gift, a simple gesture of friendship. But to Rylan, it carried a deeper meaning. It was an attempt to bridge the enormous gap between humans and Valerians, to show that even a species so different could reach out with trust. He paused at the entrance of the observation chamber where Lysara waited. She was unlike anything he had ever seen. Her skin shimmered in shades of silver and violet, reflecting the soft light of the station. Her eyes were enormous, almost hypnotic, with colors that shifted depending on her mood. She watched humans as if studying them under a microscope, noting every movement, every twitch of muscle. There was intelligence in her gaze, but also something else, something Rylan could not name. Curiosity, caution, or perhaps something deeper. Taking a deep breath, Rylan stepped forward. He had rehearsed this moment in his mind 100 times, imagining the polite acceptance, the gentle nods, the gratitude. But as he extended the locket toward her, he felt a sudden hesitation. There was no warning, no preparation for what came next. Lysara tilted her head, her eyes narrowing slightly. She reached a hand toward the locket but stopped just short, her fingers hovering over it. For a moment, Rylan thought she might reject it. Then a faint hum began to rise from her throat, low and vibrating, almost musical. The locket itself started to glow, a soft golden light that pulsed in rhythm with the hum. Rylan's heart skipped a beat. He had no idea what was happening. "Commander Rylan," Lysara said in a voice that sounded like wind through crystal, "you offer this willingly?" "Yes," Rylan replied, trying to keep his voice steady. "It is a gift, a symbol of peace, a token of friendship between humans and Valerians." The hum grew louder, vibrating through the floor, through Rylan's boots, through his bones. The locket's glow intensified, shining almost painfully bright for a brief second. And then, without warning, Lysara reached out and touched his hand. The moment her fingers made contact, Rylan felt a jolt of energy shoot through him, a rush of sensations unlike anything he had ever experienced. Images flashed before his eyes, vast purple landscapes, swirling skies, cities that floated above glowing oceans. He felt emotions that were not his own, a deep pride and sadness, fear and hope, all wrapped together. It was as if the Valerian woman had opened a window into her very soul. Rylan stumbled back, unsure of what to do. He had meant to give a gift. He had meant to show friendship. But somehow, he had triggered something ancient and powerful. He realized, with a mix of awe and fear, that in Valerian culture, giving a gift could mean much more than humans understood. It could create a bond, a connection between two beings that went far beyond words, far beyond gestures. Lysara watched him carefully, her eyes calm now, studying him as if evaluating whether he was worthy. "You do not understand what you have offered," she said softly. "This is not merely a token. You have invited yourself into the deepest part of my being. You have violated the silence of our spirits." Rylan swallowed hard. I didn't know. I only wanted to show friendship." She tilted her head, her expression unreadable. Then slowly she withdrew her hand. The hum faded, the locket's glow dimmed, and the images disappeared from his mind. Ryland's pulse raced. He had survived the encounter, but he understood now that this was no ordinary meeting. Nothing about the Valerians was ordinary. "You are bold," Lysara said finally. "Boldness can be dangerous, but it can also bring greatness. You have awakened something in me, something long dormant. You must be careful. Some humans might not survive such a bond." Ryland nodded, though he was not sure he fully understood. His mind was still spinning from the experience. And yet, even in the midst of fear, he felt something else: pride. He had reached across a chasm that no human had crossed before. He had made contact not just with a being, but with a consciousness, and somehow she had responded. Over the next few hours, Ryland and Lysara remained in the chamber, talking carefully, cautiously. Every gesture mattered. Every word carried weight. They shared small things at first: gestures, images of their respective worlds, descriptions of daily life. But Ryland noticed a pattern. Lysara responded more to his feelings than to his words. She reacted when he laughed, when he expressed curiosity, when he showed kindness. And slowly, a subtle understanding grew between them. The other humans observed from a distance, whispering among themselves. Many were fearful. They did not understand what had happened, and some thought Ryland had been reckless. Yet as they watched, they could not deny the spark of something remarkable: a connection, a bond, forming in real time between human and Valerian. By the end of the day, Ryland realized the enormity of what had occurred. This was not a simple diplomatic gesture. This was history in motion. He had opened the door to a new form of communication, a new way for humans to interact with an alien species. And it was terrifying, because if he failed to respect it, if he misstepped, the consequences could be catastrophic. But Ryland also felt hope. The Valerians were brilliant, yes, and cautious, yes, but he had glimpsed something that humans had always prided themselves on: the ability to connect, to understand, to find common ground even in the most alien circumstances. He had always believed that humans were special, capable of rising to challenges that seemed impossible. Now, he had proof. As the lights dimmed and the station grew quiet, Ryland stood alone in the observation chamber for a moment. He looked at the locket in his hand, still faintly glowing, and whispered to himself, "This is just the beginning." Little did he know, the bond he had unknowingly formed with Lysara would change not only his life but the fate of humanity itself. And the journey, with all its danger, wonder, and discovery, was only starting. The morning after the encounter, Commander Ryland could still feel the echo of Lysara's presence in his mind. It was subtle at first, a faint tingle whenever he moved, a whisper of thoughts that weren't his own, but it grew steadily, like a river swelling with spring rain. Humans were not supposed to feel this way with an alien species. Yet here he was, experiencing the connection firsthand. It was exhilarating and frightening all at once. Ryland had been briefed on the Valerians' customs, but nothing had mentioned this. Nothing had warned him that a simple gift could form a bond powerful enough to transmit thoughts and emotions across species. Yet, he realized, as he moved through the station's corridors, that it was happening. Every time he thought about Lysara, he felt a subtle echo of her thoughts, her curiosity, her caution. She was studying him just as intently as he studied her, and the line between observer and participant was blurring. He entered the observation chamber once more, unsure of what he would find. Lysara was already there, floating slightly above the smooth floor, her body radiating a gentle light that changed with her emotions. She regarded him with the same calm intensity, her eyes reflecting curiosity and something softer, almost like trust. "You came back," she said, her voice a soft vibration that made the air shimmer. "I needed to understand," Ryland replied. "I didn't mean to cause anything last night. I just wanted to share something from our world, something simple." Her head tilted slightly. What humans consider simple is not always simple here, yet simplicity can be profound. You have courage, Commander. You offer yourself without knowing the risk. That is rare. Ryland swallowed hard. Humans often prided themselves on bravery, but this was different. This wasn't a battle or a mission with rules. This was an uncharted frontier, one that required empathy, intuition, and the courage to face the unknown. And he was discovering that humans were capable of more than he had ever imagined. Over the next several hours, they began a cautious exchange. Lysara showed him images of her world, vast floating cities, shimmering oceans, and forests of crystal-like trees that grew toward the sky in spirals. She revealed the daily routines of her people, their ways of learning, communicating, and surviving. Rylan responded with pictures of Earth, stories of humanity's struggles and achievements, and explanations of simple human gestures like laughter, friendship, and trust. Every exchange carried weight. Every glance and gesture conveyed more than words could. Rylan began to notice that Lysara reacted not just to his words but to his feelings. When he spoke of his family back on Earth, her glow softened, almost as if she understood longing. When he expressed awe at her world, she leaned closer, curiosity bright in her gaze. And every time, he felt her emotions ripple through him, a wave of understanding that transcended language. It was exhilarating, but it was also exhausting. By the end of the day, Ryland's mind felt like it had been stretched in every direction. He understood now why the Valerians valued patience and careful thought. A bond like this was not a toy. It was a responsibility. As days passed, the bond deepened. Ryland could sense Lysara's thoughts even before she spoke. He could anticipate her questions, her reactions, her emotions. And she, in turn, seemed to sense his intentions, his hesitations, his excitement. Together, they discovered that communication could be far more than words. It could be feelings, images, instinct, and trust intertwined in ways that neither species had fully experienced before. But with the bond came challenges. Ryland noticed subtle shifts in his own behavior. He became more cautious, more aware of the weight of his actions. A small misstep could cause offense or confusion. A careless word could ripple across the connection, causing unintended consequences. Humans were not used to this level of intimacy with an alien species. They valued diplomacy and protocol, but this was raw and immediate. One day, a team of Valerian scientists approached the observation chamber. They had been monitoring Rylan and Lysara's interactions, and their expressions were unreadable, a mixture of curiosity and concern. "Commander Rylan," one of them said, her voice crisp and melodic, "your connection with Lysara is unprecedented. We have never seen a human interface in this way. It is risky." "I understand," Rylan replied, "but I did not seek to manipulate or harm her. I only wanted to share a gesture of friendship." The scientist tilted her head. "And yet, you have created a bond that cannot easily be undone. Some humans might find this overwhelming. You are fortunate that Commander Rylan has the resilience and adaptability to endure it. Others might not survive." Rylan nodded, feeling a surge of pride. Humans were adaptable, inventive, and resilient. Even when faced with something beyond comprehension, they could rise to the challenge. He realized that this bond was not only a test of human courage, but also a proof that humans could thrive, even in alien circumstances. Over the next week, Lysara guided him through Valerian culture, explaining rituals, social hierarchies, and the deep respect her people had for gifts and bonds. She revealed that the locket had triggered an ancient practice, one used only for the most trusted allies. Humans had no concept of this ritual, and yet Rylan had unknowingly invoked it. "You carry yourself with honesty and courage," Lysara said one evening, her glow soft and calming. "That is why the bond endures. Others might falter, but you are capable of more than your species realizes." Rylan felt a swell of pride. Humanity had always believed in its potential, in its ability to overcome odds, to explore the unknown, and to make connections where none seemed possible. This bond was proof, living proof, that humans could shine in ways even the most advanced alien civilizations could recognize. As their interactions continued, Rylan began to experience subtle changes. He could sense the mood of the station, the unspoken tension among the Valerians, the curiosity of other humans observing from afar. Decisions that would have taken hours to analyze now seemed clear in moments, as if Lysara's perception complemented his own, guiding him toward understanding. Together, they became more than the sum of their parts, a partnership of instinct, intelligence, and trust. But the bond also revealed dangers. One evening, while exploring a remote sector of the station, Rylan and Lysara encountered a Valerian who did not trust humans. His eyes flickered with suspicion and hostility, and he approached with a weapon-like device, ready to challenge Rylan's presence. Rylan's heart pounded. He could feel Lysara's fear and caution, intertwined with his own. In that instant, he understood her completely, her instincts, her reasoning, her anticipation of possible outcomes. And because of the bond, he could act before thinking, moving with precision, de-escalating the threat through gestures and subtle mental cues. The Valerian hesitated, then lowered his device, eyes wide with astonishment. Lysara's glow pulsed brightly, relief flooding through both of them. "You understand in ways that few humans could," she said softly. "It is rare for our people to see such instinctive courage and adaptability." Rylan smiled, a mixture of relief and pride. Humans had always been told to fear the unknown, to follow protocol, to avoid risk. But here in the vast unknown of space and alien minds, humans could excel, not through brute force, but through courage, empathy, and intelligence. He realized that humanity's greatest strength was not its technology or weapons, but its ability to connect, to adapt, and to rise above fear. Over the next days, Rylan and Lysara continued to explore the depths of their bond. They shared stories, dreams, fears, and hopes. Rylan described Earth's oceans, mountains, and cities. Lysara revealed the spiritual heart of the Valerians, their history, and the weight of centuries-old traditions. And through it all, the locket pulsed softly, a constant reminder of the connection they had forged. Other humans began to notice the change. They saw how Rylan could anticipate Lysara's needs, communicate with her without words, and navigate the station's complexities with insight that surpassed normal human capability. Some envied him, some feared him, but all recognized that he represented something extraordinary, a glimpse of what humanity could achieve when it embraced courage, curiosity, and connection. Rylan also began to understand that the bond was more than personal. It had implications for all of humanity. If humans could form such deep connections with one of the galaxy's most advanced and enigmatic species, it could reshape diplomacy, science, and exploration. Humans could be more than participants in the cosmos. They could be innovators, peacemakers, and bridge builders. But even as hope flourished, danger lingered. The Valerians were not a single-minded species. Some feared humans, some saw them as naive, and some considered them a threat. And the bond, powerful as it was, would be tested. Rylan knew that the coming days would demand courage, intelligence, and adaptability beyond anything humanity had faced before. Yet he also knew that humans had something the Valerians could not replicate, a spark of ingenuity, empathy, and audacity that could turn even the most perilous situations into triumph. As night fell over the station, Rylan and Lysara floated side by side in the observation chamber, the locket glowing softly between them. For a moment, the world outside ceased to exist. There were no politics, no fear, no judgment. Only two beings, connected across species and worlds, discovering what it meant to trust, to understand, and to reach beyond the limits of their knowledge. Rylan whispered softly, almost to himself, "This is only the beginning. Together, we can face whatever comes." Lysara's glow brightened in response, a silent acknowledgement. The connection between them was no longer fragile. It was steady, powerful, and alive, a testament to human courage and adaptability. And as they looked toward the future, both knew that the bond they shared would shape not only their lives but the destiny of humanity among the stars. The days ahead would be filled with challenges, tests, and discoveries. But one thing was clear. Humans, with their boldness, creativity, and capacity for connection, could shine in the cosmos. And Rylan, through a simple gift, had ignited a spark that could change everything. The station had grown quiet that morning, but Commander Rylan knew it was only the calm before the storm. The bond he shared with Lysara had deepened beyond anything he had imagined. He could feel her emotions clearly now, joy, curiosity, and even subtle anxieties about their interactions with other Valerians. It was like walking a tightrope, one misstep away from disaster, yet he also felt a new kind of strength. Through this connection, he had insight no human was supposed to have, intuition sharpened to a point that allowed him to move confidently through alien spaces and customs. That morning, he met with Lysara near the central observation dome. She floated gracefully, her luminescent form pulsing in soft violet and silver tones. The locket hung between them, glowing faintly, its energy now steady, a symbol of the bond that had become both guidance and warning. "There are whispers among my people," Lysara said, her voice calm but serious. "Some Valerians do not trust humans. They see your species as reckless, unpredictable. They question whether this bond can endure without causing disruption." Rylan nodded. "I understand. But we cannot let fear dictate our actions. If we act carefully and show respect, humans can prove themselves capable of more than they are given credit for." She studied him for a long moment. "You believe in your kind even when others doubt. That is what makes this bond endure." He felt pride, not just for himself but for all humanity. Humans had always been underestimated, dismissed as fragile, impulsive, or unprepared for the vast universe. Yet here he was, standing in a room of one of the galaxy's most advanced species, demonstrating courage, adaptability, and ingenuity. Humanity had a spark that no machine, no protocol, no calculation could replicate: the ability to act boldly in the face of uncertainty, to reach beyond fear, and to connect with others in ways that mattered. The quiet was broken by a sudden alarm. Red lights bathed the corridors and the hum of machinery intensified. Rylan's pulse quickened. Lysara's glow flickered with concern. "Intruders," she said simply. "A rogue faction of Valerians has breached the station's perimeter. They do not trust humans, and they do not trust those who bond with them. We must act quickly." Rylan's mind raced. This was the first real test of their connection. He could feel Lysara's fear and resolve intertwining with his own. Together they were stronger than either could be alone, but the threat was significant. The rogue faction was known for ruthlessness, intelligence, and a lack of hesitation. They would not negotiate, they would attack. Rylan and Lysara moved swiftly through the station, alerting human and Valerian personnel alike. His bond allowed him to anticipate Lysara's intentions, her movements, her strategy. He could think several steps ahead, understanding how the rogue Valerians would likely react and adjust accordingly. The humans he led had never seen such coordination, such instinctive precision. It was as if Rylan could see the battlefield before it unfolded, guided not by sensors or protocols, but by the unique connection between him and Lysara. As they reached the main control hub, they found the rogue Valerian faction attempting to override the station's security systems. Rylan immediately understood the danger. If the systems were disabled, the humans aboard would be trapped, vulnerable to attack. He turned to Lysara. We need to stop them before they gain control. Can you help me access their movement patterns? She nodded, and for a moment he felt her thoughts merge with his. The locket pulsed warmly, a bridge of intuition and awareness. Together they traced the rogue Valerian's positions, anticipating every step. They coordinated silently, moving with precision, neutralizing security overrides and guiding humans to safety. One of the rogues detected them. He lunged with a weapon designed to disable life functions instantly. Rylan reacted without hesitation, sidestepping and using the environment to his advantage. He grabbed a control panel, flipping it to emit a pulse that disrupted the rogue's weapon. In that instant, Lysara's instincts guided him further, nudging his actions in subtle ways he could not consciously process. Together, they disarmed the threat without a single fatal blow. The rest of the rogue faction, seeing their comrade neutralized, hesitated. Rylan seized the moment. "You do not need to fight us," he said, projecting calm authority strengthened by the bond. "We are not your enemy. We seek understanding, not conflict." The rogues paused, uncertainty flickering in their eyes. They had never faced a human like Rylan, guided by intuition, courage, and connection to a Valerian. Slowly, they lowered their weapons, realizing that this human acted with more intelligence and adaptability than many Valerians had expected. After the threat was neutralized, Lysara and Rylan floated above the control hub, surveying the aftermath. The station was intact, the humans safe, and the rogue faction contained. Lysara's glow was calm but bright, a mixture of relief and respect. "You are remarkable," she said softly. "No human has ever faced a challenge like this with such clarity and courage. Your bond, it strengthens you. It reveals what your kind is truly capable of." Rylan felt a surge of pride. Humanity had always believed in its potential, but here was proof, undeniable and vivid, that humans could rise to challenges beyond comprehension. It was not brute force, not technology, that had saved the day. It was ingenuity, adaptability, courage, and the ability to connect with others across differences. The next days were filled with debriefings, repairs, and renewed diplomacy. Rylan and Lysara continued their silent conversations through the bond, refining strategies, sharing observations, and building trust. Humans and Valerians alike began to see the benefits of their cooperation. Where once humans were viewed with suspicion, they were now respected for their resilience, creativity, and courage. During one quiet moment, Lysara shared a vision with Rylan, a memory of her ancestors, of bonds formed across generations, of moments when trust had forged alliances that saved entire civilizations. Rylan understood the weight of what had been entrusted to him. This was not just about personal connection. It was about shaping the future of human-Valerian relations. Rylan thought about Earth, about the millions of humans who had never seen the stars beyond their skies. He thought about the history of humanity, filled with struggle, triumph, mistakes, and learning. And he realized that humans had something unique: the courage to act, the empathy to connect, and the ingenuity to turn impossible situations into victory. One evening, while observing the station's glowing horizon, Rylan spoke aloud, though the bond ensured Lysara heard him clearly. "Our people, your people, we could do so much together, not just survive but thrive. There is a place for humans here, beyond fear and suspicion, where we can contribute, learn, and grow." Lysara responded with a pulse of light and a gentle hum. "You see what many Valerians cannot. You value connection, courage, and understanding. These are qualities that your kind has long underestimated in itself, but now you demonstrate them, and through you, humanity shines." The following week, a new challenge emerged. A system failure threatened the station's power grid, and without immediate intervention, both humans and Valerians would be in danger. Rylan, guided by Lysara, analyzed the situation. Sensors were offline, systems unstable, and time running short. Yet he remained calm, drawing on the bond to anticipate potential failures and guide repairs with speed and precision. Other humans watched in awe as he navigated the complex alien systems, combining instinct, intuition, and understanding of human engineering. Lysara provided insight into the Valerian mechanisms, revealing patterns and sequences that no human manual could explain. Together, they restored the systems before catastrophe could strike. The bond had become more than a connection. It was a tool, a bridge between species, a living testament to human potential. Ryland felt a sense of awe and responsibility. Every action he took, every decision he made carried weight. Humans had the chance to prove themselves not as intruders or fragile creatures, but as allies, innovators, and thinkers capable of standing alongside the galaxy's most advanced civilizations. Despite the challenges, there was also joy. Rylan and Lysara shared moments of laughter, wonder, and discovery. They marveled at the beauty of the station, at the rhythms of alien life, at the potential for connection that transcended species. The locket pulsed softly between them, a constant reminder of the bond that had begun with a simple gesture. One day, Lysara revealed the final truth of their connection. The bond is not just about communication or understanding. It is about trust, courage, and choice. You chose to give without knowing the consequences. You chose to act with integrity and empathy. That is why it endures. That is why humans, through you, can shine. Rylan understood fully now. Humanity's greatest power was not its weapons, its technology, or its numbers. It was its ability to act with courage, to connect with others, and to rise above fear and uncertainty. He had lived it, experienced it, and now embodied it. As he floated beside Lysara, he felt a surge of determination. The future would hold more challenges, diplomatic crises, rogue factions, unknown threats, but humanity had proven it could endure, adapt, and excel. The bond with Lysara was a symbol, yes, but also a tool, a guide, and a testament to the potential of the human spirit. And somewhere in the quiet, deep in the heart of the station, Rylan knew that this was only the beginning. Together, human and Valerian, they would face whatever came next. And humanity, through courage, ingenuity, and connection, would shine brighter than ever before. The calm of the station that morning was deceptive. Commander Rylan had grown accustomed to the subtle rhythms of Valerian life, the soft glows, the shifting patterns of energy, and the quiet hum of intelligence all around him. Yet, beneath that calm, a storm was brewing. Reports had come in of an entire faction of Valerians on the edge of the station preparing to take control. Their distrust of humans, and of Lysara's decision to bond with one, had reached a dangerous peak. Rylan knew that today would test everything. His bond with Lysara, which had grown steadily over weeks, was now their greatest strength. It allowed them to anticipate movements, understand motives, and act with a precision that no ordinary human could match. But it was also a risk. One mistake could trigger a violent confrontation, not only endangering humans and friendly Valerians, but also potentially destroying the fragile trust they had built. He found Lysara in the observation chamber, floating gracefully in her luminous form. The locket pulsed softly between them, a steady heartbeat of their connection. She studied him with an intensity that made his chest tighten. "They are moving faster than I expected," she said. "If we do not act, the station will fall, and your people may not survive." Rylan nodded. "We'll stop them, together." He could feel her resolve mingling with his own, strengthening him. Humanity had always faced impossible odds and had survived through courage, ingenuity, and unity. This was no different, only the stage had expanded to include beings from another world. They moved swiftly through the station, coordinating with human personnel and friendly Valerians. Through the bond, Rylan could sense Lysara's thoughts and intentions before she even spoke. He guided teams to strategic positions, anticipated where the rogue faction would strike next, and diffused minor confrontations before they escalated. Humans who had been skeptical of the bond now watched in awe. No protocol, no training manual, had prepared them for the kind of instinctive leadership Rylan exhibited. The first major confrontation came in the central hub. A group of rogue Valerians blocked the main access point, their weapons shimmering with lethal energy. They had already disabled some of the station's defensive systems, and every second counted. Rylan took a deep breath, feeling Lysara's calm resolve flow into him. "We do this together," he said silently, and she responded with a pulse of light that reinforced his focus. The fight was a test of instinct and strategy. Rylan guided human and Valerian allies with rapid, precise decisions. Using the environment to their advantage, they created barriers, rerouted energy flows, and neutralized threats without unnecessary harm. Each move was informed by the bond. He sensed the rogue Valerians' hesitation, their fear, their intent, and could predict their next action. Lysara provided insight into their tactics, revealing strategies no human could decipher alone. One rogue tried to flank Rylan's position, but he anticipated the move. He guided a team to intercept, using calculated maneuvers that mirrored a Valerian combat dance. The rogue paused, confused by the unexpected counter, and Rylan seized the moment to de-escalate with precise non-lethal force. As the battle continued, Rylan realized something profound. Humans often prided themselves on weapons, technology, and numbers. Yet here what made them exceptional was different: courage, adaptability, intuition, and connection. The bond with Lysara magnified these traits, but even alone, humans had the spark to face the impossible. By midday, the rogue faction had been contained. The station's systems were stabilized, and human and Valerian casualties were minimal. The bond had proven more than a tool. It was a bridge, a symbol of trust and collaboration, and a living demonstration of humanity's potential. Exhausted but unbroken, Rylan and Lysara floated in the observation chamber, surveying the aftermath. The station hummed with renewed energy, its lights glowing softly. Lysara's glow pulsed steadily, a sign of calm and approval. "You have done more than survive," she said. "You have shown your people's true strength. Humans are not fragile. They are capable of courage, ingenuity, and connection beyond what many of my kind expected." Rylan felt a surge of pride. Humanity had always believed in its potential, but here it was undeniable. Through courage, empathy, and the willingness to reach beyond fear, humans could shine, even among a species considered more advanced in every way. The bond continued to teach him. Through Lysara, he experienced Valerian history, art, and thought. He saw their triumphs and tragedies, their logic and their values. And he realized that humans had something unique: the audacity to act, the ability to trust, and the resilience to endure. Even when faced with alien minds and incomprehensible circumstances, humans could rise. In the quiet moments after the conflict, Rylan reflected on what had brought them here. A simple gift, a handcrafted locket, had triggered an ancient Valerian ritual. It had been small in appearance but immense in consequence. And through it, he had discovered that humans were not just participants in the galaxy. They were contributors, innovators, and connectors. But the challenges were not over. Word of the bond spread through the station and beyond. Some Valerians viewed humans with increased suspicion, fearing their influence. Others were inspired, seeing the possibilities of collaboration. And somewhere, far beyond the station, other alien species were beginning to take note. Humanity's reputation was changing. It was no longer a fragile species confined to Earth. It was a species capable of courage, ingenuity, and influence in the cosmos. Rylan knew that the future would bring more challenges: diplomatic crises, rogue factions, and unknown threats. But he also knew that humanity had a spark that no challenge could extinguish: courage, empathy, and the ability to connect across differences would always give humans an edge. One evening, Lysara shared a vision with him, a glimpse of a future where humans and Valerians worked together, exploring uncharted worlds, exchanging knowledge, and creating alliances. Rylan understood that this vision was possible because humans had dared to act boldly, to offer friendship without knowing the consequences, and to trust in their own abilities. "You see possibilities," she said softly. "Your kind does not always understand its own power, but you demonstrate it. That is why you shine." Ryland smiled, thinking of Earth, of the millions of humans who had never left their planet, and of the countless challenges humanity had faced throughout history. This was another challenge, yes, but it was one they could meet with courage and ingenuity. Humans could rise to the occasion, not because they were invincible, but because they were adaptable, creative, and capable of profound connection. Days later, the station held a ceremony of acknowledgement. Valerians and humans gathered together, the locket placed at the center as a symbol of trust and collaboration. Lysara and Rylan floated beside it, their bond visible in the gentle glow that connected them. "You have proven your worth," a senior Valerian said. "Not through strength alone, but through courage, understanding, and connection. Humans have shown that they can shine, even among the stars." Ryland felt a swell of pride, not for himself alone, but for humanity. They had faced the unknown, navigated danger, and built bridges where none existed. They had demonstrated that their qualities, courage, ingenuity, empathy, and adaptability, were powerful, even in a universe that seemed vast and indifferent. As the ceremony concluded, Rylan and Lysara remained in the observation chamber. Outside, the station's lights reflected off the distant stars, the endless expanse of space, a reminder of how small and yet how significant their actions were. "This is only the beginning," Ryland said softly. "Humanity has so much to learn, so much to offer, and together we can face anything." Lysara's glow brightened, a soft pulse of agreement. "Yes, together you and your kind can shine among the stars. The bond you have forged is more than a gift. It is a bridge, a proof of potential, and a beginning of something greater." For Rylan, the journey had changed him. He was no longer just a commander or a representative of Earth. He was a symbol of human potential, a testament to what humans could achieve when they acted with courage, empathy, and boldness. The bond with Lysara was not just personal, it was a beacon, showing that humans, even in the face of the unknown, could rise, adapt, and shine. And as he floated beside her, looking at the glowing locket, Rylan knew that humanity's place in the cosmos was only beginning to unfold. Through courage, connection, and the audacity to act boldly, humans could influence the galaxy in ways no one had ever imagined. The stars stretched endlessly before them, but for the first time, Rylan did not feel small. He felt human, he felt capable, he felt ready. And in that quiet, luminous chamber, with Lysara beside him and the locket pulsing between them, he understood the truth that would guide humanity forever. The human spirit, with all its courage, empathy, and ingenuity, could shine brighter than any star, even in the darkest reaches of the universe.